This
allow the
conference will
user.
now be recorded.
So the data warehousing is the act of organizing and storing the data in a way to make its retrieval efficiently, which means it's not like we can store the data in some way like however you want. It should be stored in an organized manner, which will make the end users to retrieve the data efficiently and effectively. Right. So the key term used in a data warehousing is how to retrieve the data easily. So when you say the retrieval of data, there are different levels of data storage one after the another. Like we used to receive the data from different data sources where we will pull the data, or we can say extract the data, whichever information we want. We do some transformation logics and then we will load the data. So this ETL will happen at the first level of loading is called as a staging area. So what is staging area? Staging area is just a temporary storage place. It is not a permanent area where you can able to clean the data however you want to proceed further. So when I say data cleansing, as mentioned in yesterday's session, you will have different data sources. Like the data sources can be homogeneous or it can be heterogeneous. When I say it is homogeneous, all the data source types are same. Okay. So when I say it is heterogeneous, then different types of data sources maintains the data. When you pull the data from different sources, the format how the data got stored in each of the source system will vary. In one of the data source, it can be a file format. In other, it can be a database format. In other, it can be some XML or CSV format. The way data loaded will vary. In some places where the state can be mentioned as TN for Tamil Nadu, AP for Andhra Pradesh, like that, the short note might be used. Whereas in other data source, it can be Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, in such a way it can be elaborated. But when you pull the data from different sources, you cannot have the combination of data that is called as an inconsistent data. So when I say inconsistent data, the data doesn't look in a actual format or we cannot store as such. See, if you want to store a data in a database table, a column can have, you cannot go and insert a record as like you want, right? It can be either in an abbreviated format or in a short note. So whichever way you want, you will store the data because it is not a small amount of data that you're going to deal with the data warehouse. When it is a data warehouse, it will be a huge volume of data. So having multiple data sources, collecting the details of same information, but on different format. In that format, if you retrieve a data, you will have 5 different formats of maintaining a state information alone. So if you just need to cleanse the data. When I say cleaning the data, it is nothing but making the data in a consistent format, having all across all the data sources, whichever you extract, bring it into a single format and load it into the level. That part of cleansing the data is nothing but staging area. In one of the data source, the date might be stored in DDMM YYY format. In other database, it can be stored in YYYMM format. In other, it can be in different format. You cannot have the combinations of format for a field. So if suppose there is a date of birth column, in a date of birth column on a staging area part, you just, when you are loading it into a staging area, or the date of birth field should have a single format which can be DDD, YY, or whichever format you want. It is a single format alone. So likewise, you will clean all the data, right? When I say cleaning the data, it is not only about the data formatting, like it is not only about the data how it looks like, it is also the unwanted data you will be ignoring, and also whichever data you couldn't able to read. In some cases, a record what is a record actually? A record is a row. Like what is a column? A column is in a vertical way. It can be in a file or it can be a table. In table, we'll say it as a row and a column. In a file, just for an sample, I'm saying a row and a column in an Excel sheet. Okay. So when you try to maintain the data in a staging area, have the data in a proper format so that in the next intermediate level, you can load the data effectively. Can you able to follow what I'm trying to say? So staging area
Yes.
is a temporary storage area. Whatever there in a stores in a different source system will have a raw data. Those raw data will be collected and that data will be cleansed, will kept it ready in staging area to move further in the next intermediate layer. So once the data cleaning is done, then we will move on to the next level of loading, which will be a warehouse part. So before going to warehouse, that you will load the data into multiple tables, which are called as an intermediate tables. There will be different levels of tables, and that is purely based on the project, whichever you are using. So whatever data available in source will be there in a staging area, and from the staging area you will load the data into the next level of data. And finally, the data warehouse is nothing but a place where you will have the raw data, which is nothing but a data collected from the data sources, the metadata and the summarized data. When I say metadata, metadata plays a major role in a warehouse. Metadata is a data about the data. Data about the raw data is a metadata. This will determine which are different tables available in data warehouse, what each table does, what attribute that are available in table, and all these informations are controlled and governed by metadata. The summary data, when I say summary, as the name indicates, summarized data. So when you call it as summarized data, it is nothing but an aggregated data. What are all the different aggregate functions available in SQL? Yes. Can you try what are the aggregate functions there in SQL? Shrikant or Srinivas?
Syntax.
Sum of, min of, max of, average of. These are all what? Aggregate functions, right? So
Right.
when you summarize a data or when you go for a minimized or maximized data, the aggregated data are nothing but a summarized data. So all these combination of data will be there in a warehouse. Clear? So here data cleansing plays an important role. Any questions as of now? See, there is a lot of difference how the data is stored in a database and how the data is stored in a data warehouse tables. Normal database will store the data in a tables where you will have rows and columns. That is nothing but a relational database. And each table will be interrelated with a primary key and a foreign key. The same way data will be integrated in data warehouse also, but here we will maintain the data in different format where you will have some dimensions and facts which comes into a picture, and we will have a different schemas how to maintain a data that we will see in further sessions. So when you try to integrate the data from different sources, that will allow the business user to analyze the data and to take the effective decisions. Right? So after loading the data into the warehouse, the next level where you have is a data mart. Data mart is optional. In some project you may have data mart, in some you may not have a data mart where you will have a direct data warehouse as a target. So data mart is a subset of data warehouse. When I say subset of data warehouse, what does it mean? See, I have a different departments in one organization. For example, if I take an organization, you will have a sales department, finance department, HR department, and employees department. There are different departments. Just a sample I'm saying. Each of a department will have its own data, and each of those information which is stored is nothing but a data mart. So for sales is one of a data mart, employee is one of a data mart, finance is one of a data mart. So data mart or the subset of the data warehouse. So what is data warehouse then? The data warehouse will have all these data together, put together. So why these data marts are used? The end user who will access the data, instead of giving him access to all the data in a data warehouse, we will give them a selective access to the respective data marts alone. If suppose there is a end user who want to look into the finance department information alone along with an employee, so this employee and his finance related information alone is required, and he don't want the HR related information, or he don't want the sales related information. In that case, why should I give the details of all the informations to that end user? I will restrict the user to have few informations alone by accessing a particular data marts alone. So that's where the data marts are introduced, where data marts are the subset of data warehouse.
Warehouse.
Yeah, data mart will have a subject oriented information. End users can run their queries in data marts, or also they can run it in a data warehouse as well. Is it clear?
Clear.
Srikant, how about
Yes,
you?
yes, yes, clear.
Clear, right? So now, benefits of data warehouse. So what are all the different benefits that we have in a data warehouse is we can maintain history of data. So this is a primary part of a data warehouse where you can hold history of data. Last 5 years of information I want to get it. And from those 5 years of information, I just want to analyze the data and take some necessary action on it. Integrates data from different source systems, like you can gather the data from different source systems. See, if the data is stored in a normal relational database or in a file, that will be into that particular database alone. If I'm storing a data in SQL, say Oracle database, it will have only the collection of multiple schemas, and it will have multiple tables. But you cannot have the combination of data sources, like one data source as Oracle, one as a DB2, one as a XML file, one as a text file. So there are multiple source system which has a different format of data can be integrated together. So it integrates, it has a power of integrating data from different data sources, and it improves the data quality. So after retrieving the data from different sources, whichever format you want, however you want, you can play around with the data, which improves the quality of a data. Restructure the data to make sense to the user. So the data, whatever available as a raw data, when you see it as a integrated stuff, there will be a combination of multiple data where you will have too much of junks in it, and you may not understand, the normal end user may not understand if they just look into that source data. Instead, as we do some transformation logics and we are restructuring the data however the business needs it. So by restructuring the data, the end user can able to understand the data very easily, and it can able to analyze and to move further with that particular analysis part. Freedom to analyze the data, whichever way you want, you can able to analyze the data. Last 5 years data, yes, I can able to get it. Last year of data, I can get it. Quarter wise data, I can get it. Monthly data, yes. In the month of October in 2020, what was the profit generated? I can able to retrieve that particular data alone. So you have all freedom to analyze the data in whichever way you want. It helps to take business action. This we have seen a lot of time from yesterday, like it is used by the end users to take an effective business action. So what is a ETL process? Extraction, transformation, and loading. It's nothing but a ETL process starting from source system to the destination warehouse, where the ETL process relies. After loading the data into data warehouse, there comes into a picture of reporting process, which will be handled by a separate team members using a different ETL tools like Hyperion, Cognos, Business Objects, Tableau, etc. ETL is a process of extracting the data from various sources, transforms the data to meet the requirement, and then loading it into the target database. Properties of a data warehouse. So there are certain properties of a data warehouse which plays a key role in it. So before entering into the properties of warehouse, there is a definition for data warehouse which was given by the father of data warehousing, Bill Inman. A data warehouse is a subject-oriented, integrated, time-variant, and non-volatile collection of data in support of management's decision-making process. So when he says the subject-oriented, data is categorized and stored by business subjects rather than applications. That is, how are we storing the data? You will have multiple subjects collectively stored in a data warehouse. Like I said, if there is an organization, you will have all the employee details, that is one subject, all the HR related details as another subject, finance related details as another subject, right? And sales information, some other subject. So there are different subjects. When I say subjects, all employee informations will be stored in one particular table or set of tables. Those are nothing but a data mart. Subject oriented, you can combine, you can have multiple subjects in a single place. Data is categorized and stored by business subjects rather than application. For each of the subject you are not maintaining as an application, each of the subjects are stored as a subset of data warehouse, which is called as a data mart. So it is subject oriented. So what is integrated? As the name says, integrated. A warehouse integrates data from multiple data sources. From various data sources we can collect the data, hence it is integrated system. Time variant. So what is time variant? Data is stored as a series of snapshots, each representing a period of time. You hold the data of irrespective of the years, month, quarter, or whatever duration it is. If I want to analyze the data from past 3 years, I can able to retrieve the data and analyze it from data warehouse. How much profit generated from the year 2018 to till date? And what is the profit generated in 2020 first quarter? How much customer we gained in the month of uh, December alone in 2020? So month wise, year wise, quarter wise, even day wise, we can able to analyze the data, which is time variant. Irrespective of time, you can able to analyze the data, gather the data. Non-volatile. Non-volatile means the data in the data warehouse is not updated or deleted, which means when I say warehouse system is used to maintain a history. So if you want to maintain a history, you will not be updating the data. For example, yesterday a person A was there in Chennai and today is moving to some other location, say Bangalore. So how many records are there for that employee, for that customer? As on today, there are 2 records. Yesterday's date, it should be with Chennai, and today's date, the data should be with Bangalore. You cannot go and update Chennai as Bangalore. If you do that, what happens? You will have only single record and you will lose the previous record. You will have only the latest information. In most of the cases, data warehousing tables are not allowed to perform the update operation or even delete operation. If you delete the data, you will lose the history information. There are possibilities to update the data, but it is purely based on the logic and the requirement of the project. If your project wanted to maintain a complete history of data, then you will not be into a picture of updating the data. Instead, always inserting the data with some identifier to identify, okay, these are all the old records and this is the latest record. Clear?
Yes.
You will understand.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So there are some difference between OLTP and OLAP system. What is OLTP? OLTP is online transaction processing. OLAP is online analytical processing system. Basically, OLTP is a source system. OLAP is a target warehouse system. Okay.
Yes.
Source of data. So when you talk about the source of data, the operational data, OLTPs, or original source of data, which is nothing but it holds the raw data. Whatever data you are collectively having in OLTP is nothing but an operational. When I say operational data, in the source system, insert, update, delete, all the operations can be done on that particular source data. When it is a OLAP system, it is a consolidation of data. OLAP data comes from various OLTP databases where you will maintain the history of details mostly. Only if you maintain a history, then you can able to analyze the data. Purpose of data: to control and run fundamental business tasks. It is just to hold the data to run the business actually. But in case of OLAP, to help with planning, problem solving, and decision support. Now, can you able to correlate what I'm saying? In the target warehouse, you can able to resolve the existing problem. Problems are nothing but in business where we are right now and what to do to go into a better shape. So those sort of decision makings can be done with the OLAP system. Data mode: detailed data, larger number of short transactions. Whenever a product is sold in a supermarket, immediately an insert will be there in the OLTP. Like it is just a short note of each and every transaction what is happening. Whereas in OLAP, this product wise, this date wise, how much customers are there, what are all the details available in, it will have a breakthrough of the data where you will have complete information that's a collected consolidated format. Most of the cases of a larger volume of data, you will have aggregation on it. Like if suppose in department number 10, I have 50 employees, in the source OLTP, you will have 50 records. Whereas in target, if based on requirement, if suppose I want to maintain only aggregated data, then group by department. Department number 10, there are around 50 employees, and this was a profit generated by this department. So likewise, you can do some aggregate functions on the OLAP systems and store the data. Model: based on entity relationship model. A normal database, whatever you have seen so far, like a database, Oracle, SQL Server, or DB2, will store the data in a table in the form of rows and columns. Each table will be connected to the another table in the form of primary key and a foreign key, which is nothing but a entity relationship model, which will have one to one, one to many, many to many. A normal cardinality relationship model will be there in OLTP. In OLAP, it is based on a schema type. The schema will determine whether you want to maintain a history of data or you want to maintain the current information alone or a partial information, for which we have a different schema available, and most important schemas are star and snowflake schema. We will see this in detail in further session. So data warehouse will be designed based on star schema or snowflake schema. So when I say star schema and snowflake schema, that is nothing but a schema which will hold a collection of tables, but how the data is interrelated plays a vital role here. Performance: since it has very short transactions, it is fast and provides high performance. It is just a detailed data. In OLAP, highly flexible. You can relate the data however you want, but since you need to join most of the data and bring the collective information, it will degrade the performance. That is, it is not as fast as OLTP, but it is highly flexible to provide all information that is required for a business. Queries used: relatively standardized and simple queries, returning very few records. Often complex queries involving aggregations. When I say complex queries, yes, of course, you need to join various tables. So when I say various tables, the joins comes into the picture. and you will provide aggregate functions on it. You do some transformation logics on it. So it is some kind of a complex query, not more complex. You need not to worry about it. All the functionalities will be done by the tool itself. The tool has all advantages where it will provide a different stages in a where you can use everything in a predefined format. Data consists the current data contains historical data. Database type normalized and denormalized. Normalization is one of a concept in a normal relational database. So when I say a normalized table, normalization is the process of eliminating data redundancy. What is redundancy? Redundancy is nothing but repetition of data, duplications of data. So if you have a table with too much of data redundancy, then you may need to normalize the data. Normalizing the data will split into the table into n parts. We will see what is normalization also in the next sessions, in the further sessions. Denormalized tables are nothing but the tables are will have duplicates. It is not splitted. It will be having duplicate, but it can perform as such based on the requirement. So these are all some features of the OLAP and OLTP. Oh, okay. Any doubts as of now? Yes, if the session is a bit interactive, it will be interesting. If not, it will be a one-way communication.
No,
Please.
it's everything is clear. Your explanation is very good. Then we can proceed further.
Oh, you
No,
can
no
understand,
issues.
right? Please stop
Everything
me.
is fine, ma'am.
Fine, right? So please stop me if you can't follow. And if you want me to repeat it also, please let me know. I can repeat it. No issues. A number of times I'm here to repeat it. Only thing is you guys should understand the background of what is data warehouse. Now I hope now you guys can understand what is data warehouse, who needs it, what is the purpose of data warehouse, what are source systems, what is a target system, what is the other name for source system, another name of target system, homogeneous, heterogeneous source systems, ETL process, extraction, transformation, and loading. So these are all certain terms which will be used in your data warehousing career if you get into it. Yes, these are all the terms that are used on daily basis or on a, in a project wise, you will be using the terms.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like when we receive a requirement, right? Business requirement will be based on how the data needs to be loaded. So at the time of requirement itself, they will tell yes, you may need to maintain a history of data, or in some cases, you no need to maintain a history. You just send me the latest information, whatever you receive. It's like on daily basis, you will be receiving files from data sources. So suppose I'm taking a sample of banking domain. When I take a banking project, you will have different account informations, customer informations. Each account and customer will have a interrelated details. Like if I say customer details, a customer address, customer personal details, and this customer whether he is holding any joint accounts, this customer which accounts he is holding, what are the loan amounts he is holding, whether he holds a loan or not. So when I say bank, what are all the different subject area works here? Account is one of the subject area. Customer, loan department is different. Credit card department is different. Then what else? In loan itself, it can be a different types of loans. You can have a mortgage, you can have a vehicle loan, and you may have some insurances, different terms. So there are different source systems. Each team will be different. Loan system team will be different from the core banking. Core banking, when I say the system, the team which provides us the main information of account, customer, and the related information of account and customer, that plays that we will call it as a core banking. So core banking team will be different team, and there will be a separate team for card system. Credit card system will be different, and those team will send different files to us. or the table data to us. Mostly in banking domain, you will have data in text files. So I have different teams now: core banking, card system, loan system, and insurance system. So suppose now I told 4 different teams sitting in different locations, and they will send the source data on daily basis. Even though they are all different teams, all are working for a single bank. So an account 001 is with a customer ABC, then that ABC customer may have a suppose example I'm saying, he may have 2 different credit cards, and this particular customer and this he should be linked with those cards, right? So the card team, whoever working on the card data, will take this ABC customer and they will provide the card related details of that ABC customer. Whereas there is a loan department team, they are not worried about the credit card. They will worry about the data of the ABC customer who is having loan. He may have vehicle loan, he may have housing loan. So those loan details alone they will provide for the ABC customer. So now in this sample itself, I can tell how many files we will receive. For customer, we will have 1 file. For account, we will have 1 file, and some other core banking files we will have. Card system will send credit card related details of that particular customer ABC, and loan system will provide loan details of that customer. This I am talking about a single customer. You will have huge list of customers, and each customer will pay the loan, will have a due, will take a new loan, will apply for a loan, it will get rejected. In some cases it will get it may have a reason to provide a rejection. In most of the cases it can be approved. So all these details, whatever a customer is undergoing in a bank should track all the data and it should hold the data. Am I right? If suppose you are calling a customer care people and asking so and so date I did a transaction and the transaction amount I forgot, I just wanted some issue you have and you are trying to get it from a customer care. Yes, you can able to get the data. How it is possible? They are maintaining a data somewhere where they hit a customer number or account number. They can able to view your complete history of details and they can explain this is what the amount that you have withdrawn on so and so date. This is where that there was a rejection in your application. So any detail related to a customer, see, it is very simple. I am a single customer. I don't know what all the backend process, but without having work done with all these different teams, you cannot get the data on hand properly. Can you able to follow?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So that is how the data works. So on daily basis, then I should get the files or I should get the table data to retrieve and to load into the data warehouse. Now I receive a data in today's transaction. I have a balance of 25,000. I did some transaction. I have taken 5,000 rupees today, and each day my banking sector will generate a file, and tomorrow they will provide that particular file. Each file will have a batch date. I mean, batch date is nothing but a transaction date. If suppose what are all the transaction done by today, I will receive the file by end of a day today or by tomorrow morning from the different source system. On daily basis, I'll be receiving. Today I have withdrawn the amount of 5,000. My balance was reduced from 25 minus 5, it is 20. In tomorrow's file, maybe 3,000 rupees again got reduced and 20,000 minus 3,000. So it's like transactions or any of the changes. A customer today in India, tomorrow is moving to US. He wanted to convert his account or he wanted to open a new account, NRA account. So all complete relation of data, how we are going to maintain. And the requirement itself, they will tell, see boss, you are doing so many things. I don't want all the informations of your complete history. I just want to display the customer current balance alone. In that case, what is your need? I don't want to take all the, I don't want to display all his balances in the front end screen to the end user. Instead, I just want to display what is his current balance. Current balance means what is readily available in his account, that is alone should be displayed and not all the data. So in that case, I don't want to maintain history in my data warehouse. Instead, I can hold, but they will tell, see, you cannot, even though you want to display the latest information, they will give some redemption period. Redemption period means certain days of duration you maintain a data, after which you can clear the data. I don't want it. Maybe in this case, I want to display only the latest information of a customer. But in your data warehouse system, you need to hold at least 3 months of information. Tomorrow I may ask, show me last 10 days of transaction or last 20 days of transaction, or if somewhere something goes wrong, you may have the backup to load the data again. So the redemption period is nothing but the period on how many days that you want to hold the data in your system, after which you can remove the data. So you should write a program like the data warehouse coding should be able to clear the data after 90 days. So till 90 days I can hold the data. On 91st day, the very first day data should be cleared. So likewise, you need to maintain the data based on the requirement. In some cases, you may need to have the complete history. This customer last 10 years, which are all the locations he stayed. He may have changed 5 different locations. All the 5 different locations should be displayed. So here the need is, I want to display all the history of information. So you need to maintain history. So to maintain history and to maintain the latest detail, there are a lot of changes in the design that will be categorized at the design phase itself. That means at the beginning of the project. When your project is in a planning mode, that phase itself, it will be designed and determined that okay, it should be in this particular schema, it should go with a star schema, or it should go with the snowflake schema. This is how the table should be related. This is how we can maintain a data, how we are going to identify the old record and the latest record. It should pick only the latest information, or it should pick all the last 5 transaction of data. These are some of the things that we will have it in mind when we are going for a project. And when we receive the source files or a table of data on daily basis, each as a that is from as I told the sample of banking, core banking will send some hundreds of file, card system will send some 50s of file, loan system is sending some hundreds of file. So on each day per country wise, I may have some 800 to 700 or 600 files. In some project only 500, only 100 files, so it varies on the data level. So whole set of files I need to process. That whole set of files, whatever you are going to process in your project, is called as a batch, BATCH. So today's batch files we have received and we want to process those files. Is that you should understand, okay, there are so many files that we received and all the files we need to process today itself, which is called as a batch. Start of a batch, end of a batch. These are terms which are most oftenly used whether the batch started or not. And we have completed the batch today, which means the process for today is done. We have loaded the data successfully. So once the load of today is ended, and again tomorrow you will receive the file. That is again the next day batch. Likewise, each day you will have batch files, and it is not, most probably all the projects will not be for a single country. If it is a huge project, it will have various, it will run for various countries. Same set of functionalities if you want to run for multiple times. There are some instead of creating a design and having hundreds of design, you will design a single, I mean, it is something called as a job. I'll tell you what is a job in data stage. You will design a single job that can be reused again and again as a framework, which means a single job where you can run hundreds of files. For 100 file, to load, you no need to design 100 job. How better we can design to reuse the job is what as a developer you should keep in mind. So instead of designing the same operation for 100 times, if all the 100 files are undergoing the same operation to some level, then design one single job and use it for multiple times. Okay. And when I receive all the files and my batch is getting started, it is not a manual, it will not be a manual process in the production after it goes live. It will be an automated process for which, according to the organization stuff, that you will have a different scheduling tools used. It can be a control M, it can be Autosys, it can be Tivoli. So any of these scheduling tool will be linked in your project. Suppose there is a control M that is linked in your data stage project, whichever it's like a night 2 a.m. my job should start. Then you no need to sit and start the job. When that time arrives, automatically the job will be triggered and it will proceed further to complete the batch. So when you take a ETL project, you will have a ETL tool, which is data stage, that we will be looking into it. And each of a data stage itself is built on a server, which is Linux server. So there will be a Unix usage here. When I talk about Unix, you need not to worry or to get into a mode that you should be a master in Unix. There are certain commands which are required for data warehousing tools to load the files or to cross verify the data content or quality of a data on working as a developer, which are all the function different basic commands that are used on daily basis. I'll give those commands, that is more than enough. And some sort of some level of scripting knowledge is required. Yes, you need not to be master in scripting thousands of line or 2000s of line. At least whatever script is available, you should be able to understand it, or some 5 to 10 line of scripting you should be aware. That is very pretty simple. Not to go in depth, but at least the over layout understanding knowledge is more than enough. So ETL is linked with Unix, as the tool itself is installed on top of Unix operating system, Linux operating system. And each of a ETL tool, if you take any, that also relates with the databases. When I say database, it can be of any database format, SQL Server, SQL, DB2, anything it can be. So it is linked with database, Unix, ETL tool, which is a data stage. Along with that, there will be a control M tool that will be linked in your project. This is what the real-time flow. So when you enter into a job, you will be getting a KT session, the knowledge transfer. There you will be provided, you can ask which scheduling tool is used, what are all the databases that you're using in this project. On daily basis, how will you receive the batch files? So if you ask these sort of questions, they know that you are comfortable in handling the project. You already have an experience in dealing with the project. And Srikant, you need not to worry. I know you are a fresher, but having this knowledge is add-on point for you. So understand, and please let me know wherever you get stuck. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
We'll
Okay,
go
sure.
in detail. We'll go in detail of each of the phases, whatever I'm discussing today, we'll go into. So here you may need to get your system installed with data stage, because I need you guys to practice on daily sessions. See, now we are in a data warehousing concept session, wherein it must be a theoretical part. So I'm just showcasing everything on a slideshow. But once we start the tool, right, you can see my screen, right? You will have a VMware workstation. So we have an admin. You please reach out to Sridevi ma'am and get the tool installed in your machine. You cannot go with a licensed version, so it is just a standalone mission.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah, hello. Yeah, ma'am.